Hello folks, this is Bill from Little White Dory, and we're coming to you from the basement, and figured I'd give you an update and maybe show some of the things I'm using, some of the things I'm doing. So here we go. For those of you who've watched some of my other videos, you may know that I had a rack system here, 2 racks actually. Trying to get this to zoom out a little bit, it won't. We have the 2 rack system, or 2 systems, whatever you want to call them. I have heating on the bottom. Those 2 pads right down there, the bottom shelves have heating pads. Those 2 heating pads are controlled. I could control it with 1 controller, but I have 2. There's a scanning effect. You can probably read that it says it's 87. That's the temperature it's at, and I have it set to 89. This one up here is at 90.8, and I have it set for 90. Whoops, maybe you couldn't see that. I didn't pay attention to what I was showing, but the same concept now. Up here where I have other trays, what I'm juggling from one tray level to another is the distance between the sprouts in here. So what I'm doing is I'm changing heights by taking out a full-size tray and then maybe putting in the half-size tray. If it's on a half-size tray and it gets too close, I pull the half-size tray out. And as a good example, let's see, I would have it sitting just like this. Now this happens to be some sort of slow-growing herbs. I think it's oregano back here and thyme up front. Got another tray here perking away. There we go, I can see it from here. You can see there's some sprouts in there. We just have the humidity dome on it to help, I think, deal with the dampening off. If I look in here, I think it's going to show up on the camera. You can see the very front rows are a little richer in color, dark, and the back is more of a brown. That's the difference of the moisture level. So seeing as I have, some in the back, some in the middle that have it on the top is dry and some of them a little wet, I know it's reasonably even. And if I check in here, I see there's no more water in here, but I just added a little while ago. And I can feel by the weight of it that it's saturated. So I don't want to have too much water. That one's doing fine. We have all these different ones with different combinations of trays to get the spacing between the tops of the sprouts and the light just right. Sometimes it's really close, sometimes it's a little further apart, but like this is about the most you'd want to have it far away. It just makes it easier for the plant to get that sunlight. So we start out things over here. This is my little potting station, and I have now just laying here my inserts, my empty trays. This happens to be a stack of blue. Makes it easier if you have a few different colors just to identify. This year I'm going with just the lettering, the numbers on it. I don't, have a fancy barcode system or anything like that, but it would be blue tray, number 10, number 8, 7, so on. What I do is I fill these with the topsoil or potting soil. This is the stuff that I'm using this season, and it is from Home Depot. You got the Vigro all-purpose potting mix. It's a fairly good sized bag. It's a net contents 32 dry quarts. I would imagine you pick it up and you can tell the difference if it's dry or if it's damp. This is reasonably well dampened. I'll add to it some perlite. All right, just the good old bag of perlite. 1 bag will last you a long time. And I mix that in just so that it has a little bit more moisture retention. And then, let's see, I'm gonna see if I can find a knife here. Big reveal. Hopefully it's the right stuff. Hope I don't slice through the bag. Last year I used a fertilizer, and it was the same stuff that you get from Home Depot, the brand. There we go. Organic Biotone Starter. Starter Plus, I don't remember the plus. So it is a 433 fertilizer, organic. Contains mycorrhizae and all that. And we'll put that in, similar to with the perlite. Now, the majority of this and the perlite that you saw will be used in the medium that I'm going to transplant things into. Oh, let's see. Just a quick side note here. Got a special delivery from the Bronx today. Madonia Brothers Bakery. And as my wife says, on Arthur Avenue between 186 and 187. Been there since 1918. And one of my favorites. And this is going to be kind of funny because there's only one good way to eat fresh bread. And that's just to pull chunks or bite it off. She won't eat it, so it's all mine. Fresh olive loaf. To die for. Not bad. Gotta have that. Anybody comes to New York and want a good bread, good Italian bread, go to Arthur Avenue in the Bronx and you get the most amazing bread in the world. Anyway, back to our plants and starts. So this stuff, like I was saying, is going to be used into mixing up with the soil that I'll use for transplants. What I'm going to do, and I've mentioned this before, but I'll show it again. There's a couple of different style flower pots that we use for selling our seedlings. This year, and as has been the case in the past, we used the Solo Cup knockoffs from Costco this year. And this year I was able to get, I should have just bought all that I need, but you know, you don't want to have a whole lifetime supply of Solo Cups on hand if you don't wind up doing what you want to do. So I bought a bunch of these on sale. It was, I think, $7.99 for 240. So that's a really inexpensive flower pot. Now, I do have to drill a hole in the bottom, but that's not a big deal whatsoever. It takes seconds. I also had, last year, found these 3-way planters, and you can nest them, you can stack them. $1 a piece at the dollar store. And I bought only 10 because I could only find 10 last year, but I found a lot more this year. And I charged, I think, about $10, and I put parsley, sage, rosemary, thyme. I did them as plugs and then filled it in. So I think this year I may just go right to seed in this. It'll take a little time, but it'll be okay. I'm not going to look to sell these as fast as I have to the tomatoes and peppers. I'll leave the herb gardens, and I'll probably wind up doing some salad gardens too. On my veggie wagon for a longer part of my selling veggies season, not just selling vegetables, plants. But this will be the other, I'm going to call it large size container. Solo Cup, $2, $2.50. This size, $4 or $5, I'm not sure. Then I have this big one. Now, when I walk over to the inventory racks here, you'll see that I have, you know, quite a few plants growing here. I don't know the numbers on this table, but in total here probably is about, oh, I don't know, there's probably 400 to 500 plants here at least by now. And as I come over this way, you can see my thermometer down there. You know that the size of this table, I have some extensions on it, but this is one of those 6-foot folding tables. And you can see that I've got some that are a little big. I'm sorry that I can't zoom further back out. I don't know why that is, so I'll just deal with this later on. But this is the size of the pot that I'll take these really large, older plants that I started in January 26th, and we'll transplant them into this size pot. And I think I'm going to go for $10. Now, not every one of these in here will be big enough. At least I don't think that they'll all be big enough. Like I can see if I level this down, you can see they have different heights. That one I just showed you was the highest of them, right in there. So these have different heights. The peppers are much more uniform. I think I'll pick out the biggest ones here because I only have 120, I think, of these. And I'll try to get 120 in the larger ones. So we'll be doing a couple of transplants in the near future. I'm heading back over this way. What else have I got? Oh, the seeds. Let's see. So what I've been doing with my seeds is trying to come up with as many different kinds as I can. And I lay them out based on how many I think I can fit into a tray. And I'll get 2 packs each, typically, if I'm buying these at Home Depot or Lowe's, which throws economics way out of the window in many respects, because some of these packets only have 20 seeds in them, and they'll cost $2.50, $2.70. Others will have 1,000 seeds in it for the same price. So I get 2 packs because if I don't have enough in one to fill a tray, or even a half a tray, hopefully 2 of them will. If I have a pack that has enough to feed an army, well, I'll use 1 to seed, and I'll take the other pack and hang on to it, and either use it for identifying when I'm selling, just as like a selling, what would I call it, a card with information, just so that people can see what they're going to get if they want that. That one particularly I think is the Sweetie, so they can read about it. So I have 2 of them in case, they get a little messy. And as I'm filling my, well, actually I think I brought them up. I did. So what I would typically do is I write on the back of the seed pack. Now this one I didn't think one of these was going to fill a seed tray, so I bought 2. One of them filled a tray and a half, so I'll split a tray into half, but I don't want to split more than a half anymore. So this full pack here is still available to throw into another tray, but had I opened this and planted it into a tray, I'll write the tray number on the back, so T54, let's say. I'll write the number in it, which in this case, those trays would have been 72 units, and the date, 3/18/21. That's it. And then that goes upstairs to the computer, and I enter it into a spreadsheet. So I did do a bunch of planting today. We got 8 trays seeded today, which was really 16 varieties of tomato. And I have 1 more empty tray here. Tomorrow I will get 4 more trays ready for seeds, put some seeds in them, and get them on the heat pads. Now, let's see. No, I guess I don't have a good example. I was going to say I just took some things off of the heat pad the other day, and they were still covered for a little bit longer. I think it might have been these right here. These were peat pods that didn't work or didn't germinate at some point with something, and I decided to just throw some zinnia seeds in. And they germinated. I'll see if I can get them to hang on. If I can, I'll transplant them. So let's see, at this point, this jug here is approximately, I think it's at least 3 gallons. It might be 4. It's kind of got a long, like, champagne bottle divot in the bottom, so it's a little deceptive. But I think it's 3 gallons. I'm going through if that's 3, I'm going through about 4 gallons of water a day, filling and, topping off and watering all of these seedlings. The only major issue with doing that is that's a lot of water to be putting into the air in a basement that's colder than the air you're pumping around through it. The basement right now the floor is probably about 62 degrees. And the temperature up here is 73 degrees. So what we do is I have a window right there, and I also have a vent right over here that I'm going to turn it on for a second. You'll hear it. It's high. Turn it down to low. I'll turn this on for, 20 minutes, half an hour a day, and basically suck fresh, drier air out from upstairs, and it'll start rehumidifying it. But so far, the temperature and the humidities have been pretty good. My temperatures down here in the racks are hovering around, between 70 and 65. And over on the table over there, they're probably more likely closer to 65 to 66. But that's enough. I don't want it hotter over there, else they'll start growing too fast. And so far, things are on pace for this season. All right, we're at 14 minutes and 30 seconds. I'll flip this around. I hope that this gives me a view that's not so bad. I'll turn around this way, and then I'm in the view. But things are going good so far this season. We got the fertilizer in. We have another supply of fish emulsion, which is a powdered fish fertilizer that I sprinkle into each transplant as sort of like give the roots something to go for right away. And then the combination of that other organic fertilizer, the Biotone. It gets the plants growing fast enough, long enough, big enough for what I need. When somebody buys it from me and they put it in the ground, that's their problem. That's what they got to deal with what the amendments in the soil would be, if they put any. So that's it, folks. That's a little rundown. I'm short 15 minutes, so you all have a good day. Bye-bye.